Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun video we're going to be talking about collections, more specifically the things that I myself collect. Now if you guys seen the last train room video, you guys know that nostalgia plays a major part in my life, and I want to implement some of the nostalgia into the train room as well, and that got me to go into my head and think about the things that I used to collect and things I still collect. And I've grabbed a sampling of most of the stuff. Some stuff was out of my reach at the present time of this video's recording. Hopefully that will change and I can showcase that as well. But I am nostalgia driven. Now you guys know I just love collecting things. A lot of you longtime viewers know that I love collecting the iconic Hot Wheels cars. And one thing I love about Hot Wheels cars, I still collect them to this day, is that it has blended into several other things that I like to collect. So there's been a Thomas the Tank Engine Hot Wheels car, there's been a Mario Kart race car themed to Hot Wheels. So a lot of collaborations have been in Hot Wheels, and that's why I like to collect them, because it can really go into all aspects of the things that you like and enjoy in your life. You guys also know that I like to collect the classic Swiss Army knives. I carry one in my pocket all the time. It is my EDC, everyday carry as they say. And then of course you guys know that I love to collect and run model trains. So that is the top three things that you guys know me for, but there's still a lot of stuff. Please keep in mind, when I was raised, I was not raised as a spoiled person, you know, in any way, shape, or form. I was raised to be humble, and I try to come across as humble as I can over here on the channel. So when I show you guys these things, please don't think that I am rich. I'm not by any means. I would love to have my own classic museum, like just for nostalgia stuff that I like. It's just that when I was growing up, I was taught to take care of my stuff. So a lot of my toys, my video games, my cards and everything survived into adulthood, and a lot of that is packed into storage totes. So what I would like to begin with is Jaws. I love collecting Jaws stuff. I love the movie. Last summer, my mom got me the original book, and I got to read it from start to finish, and it's way different than the movie. But here is a little Jaws lithophane little 3D image set that one of my buddies give me. He know that I like Jaws. You guys seen me wear the Jaws shirts in my videos, especially a lot of the tank tops during the summer months. But Jaws is one thing I really like. Also, and it shouldn't come as no surprise, Thomas the Tank Engine. For some reason, I'm still drawn to this little blue tank engine. I just love the history and the lore and the original 26 books that the series was based on. I have the compilation book that has all 26 of them, and I've read it several times, even as an adult, you know. So Thomas the Tank Engine is one of the things I like to collect, and anytime I go to a thrift store or anything, I will hop over to the toys just to see if they have any of the old retro Thomas the Tank Engine stuff that I like playing with. I have a bunch of these Ertl, that's what these models here are, die-cast engines packed away, and I'd love to get all of them out and maybe display those on a shelf in the train room in the future. And speaking of Thomas the Tank Engine, here's what I said about Hot Wheels blending into several other things here, and you can see there is the Thomas the Tank Engine Hot Wheels car, and it is kind of themed to a race car, but it does have Thomas and the Thomas and Friends logo on it. When I grew up, it was Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, but as the series evolved, it just went to Thomas and Friends, as you can see in that logo. But that's something I still get a cool nostalgia pop for. And speaking of nostalgia pops, I was at Walmart the other day, and I just got a craving for a Yoo-Hoo, so I picked up a whole case of them, and I've got the little mini refrigerator under the workbench here stocked with them. And I'm like, when I took my first sip of this after shaking it up real well, I was like, wow, the childhood memories just really come flooding back with just the simple taste of a drink like this. Another thing that I have, and I haven't really collected these in a long time, and I know the series has come a long way since I have them, and I still have all my sets packed away, is Lego. I got this up at the Lego store. Of course it was a train, and I've got it hanging inside the cabinet in the train room, but it is Lego, and I want to show it to you. I haven't even opened it up or put a little train together. I love them in the pack. Again, I've got all my Legos from childhood. I believe that's what really sparked my interest in wanting to build and make things, you know, as well as like Connects. I never had the metal stuff, the erector sets growing up. I think I got one at a yard sale maybe in my mid-teens to just kind of look at and tinker with, but it was always Legos or Connects, and that was what inspired my building and everything. But I have a ton of late 80s to 90s to early 2000s Lego sets packed away in totes. As I said, a lot of my stuff is packed away in totes. Another thing that I like, and I don't necessarily collect, but when I see something I have to get it, is the One Piece anime from Japan. Now, I love this show, and I don't love it just for the simple fact it was just a recent show over on Netflix. You guys see I'm wearing the Straw Hats Jolly Roger. I have actually been following the show for around 10 to 12 years now, and I've actually seen all 1,000 plus episodes, and I look forward to each episode coming up every Sunday morning before church. That is usually how I get my morning started. I shave, I sit at the computer, and I watch the latest episode of One Piece with my coffee, you know, following the adventures of the Straw Hat Pirates. But this is one of the Grand Fleet collection. I have about 7 of these. I'd love to get all of these and put these on like a shelf to really display them like they are selling the seas. They've got that little nice plastic there to make it look like it's in the water. But this is Luffy's Going Merry, their original ship. But I did want to show that. And speaking of models, that was all put together, you know. So anyway, the next thing is Pokemon. Keep in mind, I was born in 1988, so I grew up in the early 90s, you know. So around 4th or 5th grade, Pokemon really boomed onto the scene here in America. And I was one of the ones that had to catch them all, as the phrase says. And my favorite card was always Zapdos here. And this is one of the cards here. I actually picked this up at a card shop in Myrtle Beach real cheap. I was surprised at how cheap I could pick this up. And then I 3D printed this electric Pokemon card stand. We used to have a Pokemon club at the bookstore that's no longer there. Books A Million used to be at the mall, and on Saturdays you could be dropped off and join the Pokemon League and play the card game. And I always had electric Pokemon. I always liked their look and just the varieties that they offered. And Zapdos was my favorite. I even had a baseball hat that had him embroidered on it. I think it was a khaki color, and I wore that hat out. I don't even know if it's still in the storage totes or not. But speaking of Pokemon, the Pokemon cards, of course, I have those as well. This is not all of them. This is just a sampling of them. These were like my rares and first editions and everything. And these stay in my room up on a shelf with some of the books and everything, as well as the games. Now, this is something I alluded to in the last train room video again, is I want to put up some shelves to display all of the retro games. You guys have no idea how much time I spent on video games when I was growing up, because I was an only child growing up, you know, and that's how I was raised. You know, I found out later on in life I did have a half brother on my pop's side, but you know, it's just really cool here. And I've got the original Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow Game Boy games, and I've got a 3D printed stand to showcase these, you know. And there was countless hours riding in the back of the family van just playing on the Game Boy. So I've got the 3D printers currently right now 3D printing, you know, a bunch of stands for the controllers. But Pokemon was a big thing of my childhood, as well as Nintendo. Now, this is a stand I 3D printed to hold my Donkey Kong 64 Nintendo 64 controller. This was a sleeve that Walmart give out through their game club way back when this game came out. And I looked it up on eBay just out of curiosity. I found this cleaning up, and I was like surprised at how much it was worth. So we washed it, and then I 3D printed this nice stand here for it to go on, you know. So really cool here. And again, this is one of the 3D printed style stands that I'm making to display everything, the games as well as all of the controllers for like the Wii, you know, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis. My earliest memories of playing a video game is the Sega Genesis in my grandma's and grandpa's living room, you know, when I was there. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog, stuff like NBA Jam, stuff like that. But my best and most favorite memories playing a video game system is on the Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was the first system that I really remember playing, but I sunk a lot of hours into the Nintendo 64, and then the next system after that, which was the GameCube. So really neat. Another thing, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the channel, is professional wrestling. Now, back again, the time frame I grew up, it was the Monday night era. You know, you had WCW Monday Nitro and you had WWE Raw. So I was a huge fan of that, and talking about it on the schoolyard, you know, the day after the shows came on. And this is one of the autographed posters I have. I still have all my wrestling figures packed up, and that part of me I kind of outgrew. Do I still keep up with the stories and the friends and all I made? Absolutely. But as far as like, is this much must-watch TV for me now? It's not, unfortunately, you know, I love the anime, I love watching YouTube more than I love actually watching actual television or anything, but I still love going and watching all of the documentaries and everything, and a lot of the wrestlers sign this. You have Cowboy James Storms, Hurricane Helms, Matt and Jeff Hardy, you have Gunner, Lodi, Christian York, ECW Anderson, and then all the others were around it. So this was a benefit event that I got to help with and set up with, and it raised a ton of money. I went to the local office store and got this laminated, and it hangs over here in the corner in the workshop for anyone that wants to see it. And then it should come to no surprise that I love to collect pirate stuff. Every time we go to Myrtle Beach, I always go in the gift shops and try to find some kind of small trinket that's pirate themed. Here is a little coin bank that has Myrtle Beach on it, but it's a pirate Jolly Roger skull, you know, so it just sits up on the shelf with all of my pirate stuff, as well as another thing that sits up on the pirate shelf, and that is these highly detailed Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was the 4th game in the series, and actually the first game I ever played from start to finish, and I've replayed that thing so many times and unlocked everything that is to unlock in it just for the time I've sunk into it. But this is the Golden Age of Piracy gift set, and I would love to collect all of the legendary pirates here on the back, because they release those as like standalone action figures in their own like blister packs, but unfortunately the price for those skyrocketed. I was lucky enough to get this one very cheap for under $40, you know, and now the price for this set is just crazy over on selling sites like eBay and everything. But you have Bartholomew Roberts, which is Black Bart. You have Edward Teach, who is the legendary Blackbeard and called North Carolina his home. I've went and seen the remains of the Queen Anne's Revenge down at the North Carolina Maritime Museum in Beaufort, North Carolina, and I'd love to go back there and spend more time. And then you have Benjamin Hornigold there. But this is a highly detailed set, and it is up on the shelf with all of my pirate stuff. So as you can tell, I've never went away from that kid at heart mindset. You know, I am a full-blown adult at the time of this video's recording. I am 35, but I would like to set up some stuff and actually like make a nostalgia area in the train room. Again, I would love to set up an old school TV to hook up one retro game system. That way when the model trains are running, I can totally get lost in the nostalgia and everything. But I'm not trying to make this video for you guys to think like, oh, he's a high roller or anything like that. Please believe me, I'm not. It was just when I was growing up, I was taught to take care of everything I had. I know some people tore up their toys as kids, you know. I was not like that. I took care of everything and had a sentimental attachment to everything. So really, really neat. And again, I'm not trying to make this video for you guys to be like, oh, that's what I can send him if I want to send him something. No, that is not it entirely. This was just a discussion style video that fell into my head, and I felt I had enough stuff that I could easily reach without having to go up in the family attic at the family home and go through storage totes here when it's still kind of cool, you know. When the warmer weather gets here, I can tolerate that a lot better. I might go up there and start going through stuff and, you know, just spend some time just cataloging everything, and might come back on the channel and show you guys the individual collections, like all of the Thomas stuff, all the Pokemon stuff, all the game stuff. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to see that kind of content going forward. But again, this was just another video that kind of just fell into my head, and I wanted to bring it to you guys, my followers and subscribers. Speaking of that, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social medias will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon.